We get hurt so much because we're trying to make somebody be who they don't want to become. We're trying to make someone be who they don't want to become. And let's take it a step further. Sometimes we're trying to make somebody be who they ain't even capable of becoming. And then we get let down when they don't live up to that. We get let down when they don't meet the unfair potential that we put on them, that we see in them. And I know you see the good in the person, but again, you got to start seeing the truth in the person.
I want people to come together, man.
Your perspective can either be your power or your prison.
Love each other, man, period. At the end of the day, we all going to the same place, straight up. They came ready. Y'all came ready.
Hey, what's good, y'all? Trent here. Today, I got a message, and I got to give a disclaimer. Like, I want to just start off by saying this. I'm not telling you to, I don't want you to overthink because of this conversation. Like, you know when you have somebody in your life that's for you, you know when you have somebody in your life, or at least you should know, that really got your back, right? Like, they ain't going to be perfect. You know, I always tell people this truth, like, you can't expect a perfection that you can't provide. And what that means is that sometimes we try to hold people around us to a standard that we don't even live up to. You know, sometimes we hold people to a standard that we ain't even give them that standard, right? And we kind of become hypocritical. You know, we want something that we don't want to give ourselves or live ourselves. So I'm not trying to make you overthink something because somebody made a mistake. Yeah, maybe they made a mistake that wasn't right. But you know if somebody really rock with you. You know if somebody really care for you, right? You should know that. I always say this. People ask Trent, like, how do I know? One of the first things is if you're consistently questioning it. Like if they give you questions all the time, right? If you got to question their loyalty, you got to question where they stand in your life, right? You got to question, you know, who they are. You got to question if they real. You got to question if they talking behind your back. You got to question if they really for you. Like if you always questioning it, it's a reason. They've given you a reason to question it. So I tell people all the time, like sometimes we don't want to believe it because we care for that person, because we want to see that person in a different light. We don't want to lose that person. There's a lot of things we like about that person. So sometimes we become oblivious. We become blind to what's in front of our face. And so my thing that I tell people when they ask me that question, if you're always questioning it, right? If you're consistently wondering if they're for you, then you have your answer. So I'm telling you, like, you know, I'm not telling you to paint a picture of a person that really is for you, that really got your back. But you know if somebody really isn't for you. And I want to talk about that today. Like a big part of moving on with your life, because let me tell you something, like I don't believe in building walls. I never build walls in my life. I believe in bridges. Like I want to connect with people. I want to do dope things with people. Like I don't like building walls, but I always say I don't build the walls. People build them for me, right? If it's somebody that's done me wrong over and over and over, they built that wall. I didn't build that wall, right? I gave them access to my life. You know, some of y'all think y'all cold-hearted because somebody else built the wall. That person is trying to make you feel cold-hearted because they built the wall. They're trying to make it seem like you built it because you stop accepting it, because you stop allowing it. So they try to make you feel guilty for quote unquote, you know, giving you credit for a wall that they built based upon their actions or lack thereof. And so a big part of moving on with your life, because sometimes we really get confused. And this right here, like changed my life when it came to dealing with people in my life. Like this is a game changer. But some of us, we don't do it because we want to keep certain things in our life for certain reasons. Maybe they're a good opportunity. Maybe they're a popular person and they have connections for you. But at the end of the day, they really aren't for you. You have to start trusting people for who they are. One of the best ways not to be, I'm going to just tell you right there, one of the best ways to be let down is not trusting somebody for who they are. Like when somebody has shown you who they are, as they always say, you gotta believe them. When I think about my life, the times where my heart was broke, the times where I felt let down, the times where I felt betrayed, is because I chose not to see the writings on the wall. It's because I chose not to believe what they were actually showing me. It's because I chose to stay blind to the reality that was right in front of my face, and I wanted to create my own reality, right? My own reality of that person. I wanted to stay locked into that no matter what they were showing me. And a lot of us, we are there. Like we will ignore the reality. You know what I mean? Like I get it's hard to move on from people. It's hard to move on from things, but it's really not hard. Like when somebody has showed you the reality, like the crazy thing is that sometimes we ignore the reality so much that we stay stuck in a place or on a person that has already moved on from us because we have ignored that reality, right? The reality is some people have moved on from you. Some people don't give a damn about you. Some people could care less about you. Some people are talking behind your back. Some people are gossiping on your name. Some people ain't defending you. And some people, the hard truth to swallow with that, some people don't give a damn if they do. Because they know that you're going to keep ignoring that reality. They know that you're going to keep accepting less. They know that you're going to keep accepting the bare minimum. In the times in my life where I let myself down, is when I didn't want to believe the reality, right? And I wasn't trusting people. And this is the big thing, y'all. I wasn't trusting people for who they are. And this is something that, like, this is why I want to make this episode, like, just to tell you this. This will change your life when it comes to the inner relationships in your life. It will change your life. It will help you keep people in your life that kind of ain't good. It will make you keep great people in your life. And most of all, it will keep you from being let down for the most part, right? Sometimes we still get let down, but it'll keep you from being hurt so much because you have certain expectations. And I know expectations can sometimes be a negative thing, but when you have positive expectations, like you know who a person is, you don't expect this from them, you expect this from them, like you know exactly who they are. And that is something that a lot of people don't do. And they never move on from certain situations in their life, and they stay stuck in places of hurt. They stay stuck in places of pain. They're always let down. They're always brokenhearted because you trust in a person to be something that they not. You expecting somebody to bear a responsibility that they don't want. And at some point, and I know some of y'all might not like when I say this, at some point, it's not on them no more, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you, right? At some point, when they have consistently been this person, they showed you that they are this person over and over and over and over and over. And I can keep doing infinities over because that's how many times they showed you that who they are, but you chose to believe that they somebody different. You chose to believe that they the person that from 10 years ago. You chose to believe that they the best version of themselves because they only gave a little bit of the best version of themselves, but really they were always negative for 99% of the time, but you chose to stay there. And you chose to believe that, but they've shown you who they are. So the thing that I realize when it comes to expectations can let you down, but also expectations can save you because you're not expecting nothing different than what they have showed you. And the thing that I want to tell you right now, and I just can say this, if you want to change your life and not be let down as much and not be brokenhearted as much, like lower your expectations for some people, raise your expectations for some people. And I'll just tell you this, start trusting people. Hear me this. Start trusting people for who they are. Start trusting people for who they have showed you they are, for who they're choosing to be, for who they consistently show up as. Trust them not for what they pretend to be sometimes, not who they show up hardly never. Trust them for who they consistently are. And when you do that, you don't have a different expectation for them. So for example, I've had people in my past, right, where I told them like my deepest secrets, and they ain't that deep, but when I told them things that I didn't want the world to know, I told them my struggles. I felt like they were a safe place that I can bring this information to. And over time, I would hear like things get back to me that I only told them. Side note, if you want to see who's telling your business, tell your 3 friends that you're telling your business to 3 different stories and see which story comes back to you. All right, that's a side note. Then you know who's a chatty Patty. Then you know who's a gossiping Bob, right? Gossiping Greg is probably a better word. So for me, I realized like certain things would come back to me. And I had the viewpoint of this person like, nah, this person's solid. Nah, this person would never do that. This person told me stuff that I ain't never opened my mouth with. I ain't never snitched on. And so I know this person really got my back. I know this person got love for me, right? Because I was so wrapped up into just, that's my dog, right? That's my guy. That's my person. And over time, as I started to tell him more information, then that same information will get back to me, but not from him. And so I started to realize, oh, this dude be running his mouth. Oh, this dude be actually spreading, not gossip because it's real, but spreading private informations, right? Our private conversations, right? Our private conversations became public information. And I know a lot of y'all can relate to that. And so I realized over time, right? So he showed me who he was. So in that moment, I had a choice. I had a choice to believe that was the reality, or I had a choice not to believe it. And for a little bit, I chose not to believe it because I was so wrapped up into, this is my friend. This is my homie. This is my bro. This is my dog. They would never do that to me. Never do. I was so wrapped up in seeing the good in the person that I was becoming blind to the truth in the person. I was so wrapped up in seeing the good in the person. I know a lot of you do that. You so wrapped up in seeing the good because the good is good. You so wrapped up in seeing the good in a person that you start to ignore the truth in that person. You start to ignore the reality that they showing you. And that was me. And I kept bringing my private information to this person. And then it got to a point where I got pissed off. I was mad. I confronted the dog, like, bro, like, what's up? And of course he denied it at first, but then I realized over time, I knew this dude and I knew he did it to other people in the past. So I knew that this is who he was. He spreads gossip. He can't retain his information. He got to tell somebody. He got to pillow talk. And so why would I expect him to be something that he's not? Why would I expect him to be somebody who don't run their mouth when I know for a fact they run their mouth? And that's the problem. A lot of us want to believe something different than what they showing us. And at some point, that ain't on them no more. That got to be on you like that was on me. And so what I did was I labeled that person for who they were. So that person to me, he a gossiper. He run his mouth. He pillow talk. He tell business. He can't keep secrets. And so that's who that person was. There are a lot of great things about the person. But I stopped giving him the opportunity to let me down. And some of you watching me right now, you need to stop giving the person the opportunity to let you down. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the more chances you give, the more hurt you receive. The more chances you give, the less respect they'll have for you. So it got to come to a point like I did where I said, I'm not giving no more chances for this dude to let me down. There's a lot of great qualities about the dude, but this he got a problem with. So what do you think I stopped doing? I stopped bringing my secrets to the dude. I stopped bringing my business to the dude. And I trusted him for who he was. He was a gossiper. And so in your life, there might be somebody in your life that lies all the time. Like a habitual liar. Just lie about everything. Lie about what they doing. Lie about this. We all know those people that just be telling lies all the time. When you trust somebody for who they are, you trust that person to be a liar. You don't trust that person to tell you the truth. When that person ain't never told the truth, you trust that person to be a liar. So when that person opens their mouth, you like, yep, they lying. Oh, yeah, okay. For real? Okay, cool. You know they lying. You don't expect that from them because they never gave that to you. And I know that seems like such an easy thing to understand, but most of us don't understand it. Why are you expecting something from someone when they have never gave that to you? Right? There's times in my life where, I expected loyalty from a person when they have never gave that to me. I expected loyalty from a person when they have shown me that they're disloyal. So at some point, I have to stop expecting them to live up to something that they're not capable to live up to. At some point, I have to stop, and you have to stop expecting somebody to become who they don't want to become. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make as human beings, man, that it can make this human being experience better, that can help us protect our peace, that can help us, not live hurt all the time. Like, stop giving people titles that they don't deserve, right? A lot of us, we get hurt so much because we're trying to make somebody be who they don't want to become. We're trying to make someone be who they don't want to become. And let's take it a step further. Sometimes we're trying to make somebody be who they ain't even capable of becoming. And then we get let down when they don't live up to that. We get let down when they don't meet the unfair potential that we put on them, that we see in them. And I know you see the good in the person, but again, you got to start seeing the truth in the person. I know you see the potential in the person. But again, if they don't even see the potential in themselves, they never going to do it anyway. You got to start seeing who they are choosing to be, how they're choosing to act, the choices that they're choosing to make. And when you start to understand that and you trust the person to be who they are and nothing else, it protects the relationship. It protects your peace. You're less stressed out. You're less angry. So there's a lot of people in my life personally that I don't even give them the opportunity to let me down. I don't give them the opportunity to hurt my heart. Not because I have a wall. It's because I have an understanding that they ain't that, or they are this. I have an understanding that they ain't that. What do I mean by that? They ain't that. They ain't loyal. They ain't, a true friend. They ain't a ride or die. You know what I mean? They ain't a supporter. That's who they are. Some of us are getting mad at people because, and I understand, right? Some people pretend to be a friend. Some people pretend to have your back. Some people pretend to do all these things. People pretend well. Trust me. I know. I've experienced that a lot. People pretend well, but once you see who they are, then forget what they pretending to be. You know exactly who they are. It's like Halloween. You know who's under that mask, right? They might have a mask on Halloween, but you know what's under that mask. And it's the same thing in life. They might be wearing a mask of something, but they've shown you who they are underneath. That's who you got to believe. Not who they show the world, not who they show you sometimes. You have to know what's under that mask so you don't let yourself down. So you don't keep putting yourselves in situations to break your heart. Your expectation of them is to be who they are. Your expectation of them is to be who they are. And when you start trusting that, you put your life in a better place. Like, I don't get it when multiple times someone has shown you that they don't have your back. They've shown you like they have jumped in on the bash train on your name, right? They love you when it's convenient. They hate you when it's convenient. You've seen it. That person befriended your enemies. That person be talking to your enemies about you. That person be gossip on your name. When people talking down to you, they never defend your name. So they've shown you who they are.